Hello, are we good? Some issues setting up the stream, but I believe we are good to go now. Hey man, how's it going? Some issues setting up the stream. Looks like we're all good though. Can we confirm? All good? Hey, how's it going? Nice. All right, looks good. So I scheduled the stream earlier in the week and started it at 7 p.m. and it just completely kicked me out. So I had to set up a new one, which is annoying. But yeah, all good. How are you guys? Got a slightly different stream in store this week. We have got the season 2 off season, basically. So we've got summer transfers. We've got core DNA stuff to get to. We have got objectives to get to from last season as well. So we're going to be covering all of that today and then potentially get into maybe a pre-season tournament. I think we probably won't be playing too many games in today's episode, though. It's going to be mostly transfers. It's going to be Supporters Club dictating the future of Redmont Rangers through core DNA, essentially. So we have got core DNA set up, ready to go. We have got objectives set up and ready to go through. We will need this. We will need this for the core DNA. And yeah, we've got transfers to get to as well. Some of which is going to be dictated by the objectives that we either met or didn't meet over the course of Season 1. So I think I'm actually going to have to get set up with the chat on my phone here again. I don't think I'm going to be able to see everything all at the same time on my computer screen here. We've got so many things going on for this one. So let's get set up here so I can see what you guys are saying. Since you should have a lot of influence in this particular live stream. You saw the post either in the Discord or in the community tab. Redmont Rangers supporters group have taken over Redmont Rangers. That Redmont Rangers supporters group is you. Spoiler alert. Who else went up? Gillingham for sure. Barrow for sure. I don't believe the playoffs have been played yet. I'm pretty sure this is exactly where I left it at the end of the last stream. So Fleetwood will be taking on Tranmere. Wimbledon will be taking on Notts County in the playoffs. Can we see the playoffs? We may even be able to see it via the standings here. No, we can't. It goes straight to the FA Cup. Other leagues? Will it show the playoff standings in other leagues? Again, I imagine probably not. I think we're just going to have to wait until we make our way up into League One to see who went up. But Gillingham and Barrow were the two teams that are going up with us automatically. So I think let's jump into it. I think all the regulars are here already, to be fair. So yeah, let's jump into it. We've got objectives to get to first and foremost. I think that's the primary thing that we need to start with. We set ourselves objectives at the start of last season, some of which we met, some of which we did not. So let's pull up the objectives and we can go through each one and we can apply any rewards to ourselves and we can bear in mind any punishments or consequences that we may have to kind of keep in mind over the course of the summer. So youth development is the first thing. We had to promote 3 youth prospects to the first team. If we do that, because we still do have a chance to do that, we can sign a 3-star youth scout. If we fail to do that, we have to release the 2 highest rated players in the youth academy. Let me show you what the youth academy is looking like at the moment, because it's not amazing, I'll be honest. And I think we can probably afford to lose the highest rated players in the youth squad if we choose to do so. We've got 4 players in the youth squad at the moment. 56 overall Morgan Oakley with just a 69 to 73 potential. 56 overall Hiroyo Matsuda with a slightly higher potential and certainly a high enough potential to be serviceable in League 1 and League 2, 72 to 78. And then we've got 51 overall Bjorn de Jong and 49 overall Zachary Platt, a left midfielder and a goalkeeper. So the first decision we need to make, do we promote Oakley, Matsuda and de Jong to the first team to allow us to sign a 3-star youth scout, or do we just release Oakley and Matsuda? That is the first decision we need to make, and I would like you guys to make it. So maybe let's get a poll going. Hey, Lupo, how's it going, man? Are you good? So let's get a poll going. Sign the Youth Academy prospects or no? So sign means we have 3 kind of less than ideal Youth Academy prospects promoted to the first team. But it does mean we get to sign a 3-star youth scout. Right now, we are just rocking with 2 1-star youth scouts. So less than ideal. A 3-star youth scout would go a long way. So it would mean we're kind of carrying 3 less than ideal youth prospects heading into Season 2. But doing so does mean that our Youth Academy will get a big boost heading into Season 2 as well. It's League 1 now, and will anyone want to loan 50 rated players? Probably not, to be honest. Well, to be fair, like Morgan Oakley and Matsuda could potentially even play for us next season. If we take a look at our strikers, for example, Matsuda is a 56 overall. He's already better than Ellis Lewis, obviously. We've seen Ellis Lewis. He's been awful. So we've obviously got Dave Williamson, Ethan Saint, and Charlie Pierce. But Matsuda would probably play for us next season. The right midfielder potentially as well. We've played Norman this season. The right midfielder is the same overall as Dominic Norman. He's a much higher overall than Theodore Sadler. Who is the other wide midfielder? Davison. He's a higher overall than Davison. So it's not like these youngsters are even necessarily worse than players we've got in our squad right now. We've got 256 overalls, better than Ellis Lewis, better than a couple of our wide midfielders. Oakley and Matsuda could even play for us next year. So we've got a couple in favour of sign. We've got 60% on sign right now. So let's leave that poll going for a little longer. Let's have a look at some of the other objectives. But it does look like we're probably going to be signing 3 youth products so that we can grab another youth scout. Yeah, could certainly help in terms of injuries as well. Oh, De Jong and Oakley aren't old enough. I didn't even consider that. Oh, yeah, so we've got just 15-year-old Oakley and 14-year-old De Jong. That is a very good point. I did not even consider that. So I guess we just have to release them. I guess we can't complete this objective. So it's out of our hands. That is a very good point. So, all right, I guess they're on their way. So Oakley will be released and Matsuda will be released. I mean, Bjorn de Jong maybe can stay in the Youth Academy. Zachary Platt can stay in the Youth Academy as well. But those guys are gone. Completely out of our hands in the end. I was leaning towards signing them as well. I think Matsuda and Oakley could have played for us next year. I think they would have been decently useful players to have in the side. However, that objective is crossed off. Score 20 goals in all competitions with Dave Williamson was our next target. We can reject all offers in Season 2 if we meet that. We need to dedicate at least 2 youth scouts to finding a young striker in Season 2 if we fail it. I am 99% sure Dave Williamson scored more than 20 goals in all competitions. Can we see that in the squad hub? I think this has been fixed, and this just never reverts to 0 now. And it looks like that is the case. Yeah, 26 goals. So we can reject all offers for Dave Williamson here in Season 2, which is certainly a positive thing. League 2 target, we had to make the playoffs, which we certainly did. We got automatically promoted, so we can sign one big name player aged 30 plus. So that'll be the next thing to decide. Not necessarily right now. We've got some time to think about this, but that is the next thing I'll need your input on. We need a big name player, aged 30 or more, to add to the squad ahead of the beginning of the League One season. So I've mentioned him a couple of times, but I'm thinking somebody like I've disappeared. Somebody like a Barry Bannon, I think would be ideal. We do have scouting set on slow. So if you have any suggestions, wow, Barry Bannon is 35. That's a little older than I'm hoping for. I'm thinking 30, 31. Any suggestions in the chat now so we can get them scouted ahead of Season 2? Definitely look down the free agent route. I mean, that's definitely an option to pursue. I think we'll have to wait until the season ticks over in order to do that. Can we can do age here. Right, so let's scout like, and I'd rather not go quite as high as 35. Let's scout, for example, the championship for any players aged between 30 and 33 that we think could play a role for us. I mean, what position are we even thinking? We don't really need a goalkeeper. We don't... Oh, Patrick Bamford. His wages would be far too much, right? Let's scout him anyway. Jake Bidwell. Robbie Brady could be useful. Sam Byram is a player that I like. Can play left and right back. So he would potentially be a useful addition. Callum Chambers, a bit of additional depth at centre-back, possibly. Shane Duffy. Anwar El Ghazi. Kind of reminds me of Anamdi El Fakiri. Ince from Watford. Tom Ince, I think, could be. Christian Fasnacht is 31. I had no idea that he was that old. Dwayne Holmes would be a perfect addition. Ernel Hernandez would be a realistic one. George Honeyman, potentially. Here's Tom Ince, 33 years of age. So again, slightly on the older side. Tom Lockyer from Luton would be interesting. George Long is an awful, awful goalkeeper, and there's absolutely no way he's 6'4". He's listed at 6'4", 207. There's absolutely no way that he is that tall. I don't believe that for a second. He's like 5'11", I swear. Oh, Josh McEachran potentially would be useful. I mean, half of these we can't even scout, so I'm literally just Kiefer Moore, very much in the Dave Williamson mold. Mendes Lang, older than I thought. Luke O'Nien is 30 already. And I think maybe we can do the same in League One as well. Jed Wallace is actually very good and a player that, again, I didn't realise was quite that old. Let's check out League One and we'll have a quick scout of free agents as well. I'm not going to know very many of the players in League One, though, to be fair. Especially in this kind of age range. Jordan Hugill, former Norwich City striker, would be interesting. Just targeting all the former Norwich City players. Yeah, I literally don't recognise anybody else here. Josh Sheehan, maybe. Let's have a look for a couple of free agents, just in case there are any out there. So not free agents in League One. Free agents anywhere between the ages of 30 and 33. Again, that's it. That's literally the list. This guy looks... Oh, he's a keeper. This guy looks potentially all right, to be fair, stats-wise. Left back, centre midfield. Would be perfect for that false back role. CJ Hamilton from Blackpool is good. Let's check him out. Andre Gray we can add as well. Sam Morsey from Ipswich. Let's get those guys added to the list as well. Yeah. Sam Morsey is 33, so he would certainly fit the bill. Whether we could afford his wages now that he's a Premier League player, I'm not sure. And yes, a consideration whether Ipswich went down as well. Adam Forshaw can be added to the list. And then CJ Hamilton was the last one. We'll check in on Ipswich as well and see if they went down. I think they went down and came straight back up in the Crystal Palace save. So let's see where Ipswich are. Ipswich finished in 14th position. So they stay up comfortably. 41 points. And it was 29 that went down. So finished comfortably safe. Mid-table, really. Big drop from kind of 11th down to 13th, 14th. But Wolves, Brentford, Southampton are the teams that go down. Let's see who went up to the Premier League as well. Luton and Burnley promoted automatically. Norwich just miss out on the playoffs, which will be contested by Leeds, West Brom, Hull, Middlesbrough. Interesting. All right, so we've got a handful of players that we could potentially sign as a reward for that particular objective. The EFL Trophy. Don't lose at home in the EFL Trophy. Now, this is a big one because we could double the merchandising revenue if we did achieve that. However, we need to half the match tickets revenue in the end of season report. This is something we'll be going through in just a bit, filling out our core DNA end of season report. But we need to verify first whether we lost at home in the EFL Trophy. So we're going to have to go back to the calendar for that. And actually, you can't even get to the fixtures to see whether they were home or away. The home team is listed first, I would assume. Is that correct, though? That should be the way that it is. And I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the home team is listed first. So we're looking for EFL Trophy games that we played at home. Salford? Or was that the Carabao Cup? We had Blackpool. And maybe this isn't the simplest way to do it. Surely I can just find it in standings. Bristol Street Motors Cup. Here we go. This is the easier way to do it. Right, group stage. Yeah, we played Salford and Blackpool in the group stage. We lost 3-0 to Salford and 1-0 to Blackpool. At least, well, one of which was at home. So we failed that objective. That was way harder than it needed to be, but we did fail that objective. So we need to half the match tickets revenue in the end of season report. Is the long and short of it. So if we go to our budget, which is, I thought just right here. Here it is. So if we go to the budget, we need to, I believe, find See, this is all in a different place now this year. We go to expenses and earnings is where the magic happens. And we need to half the match ticket revenue. So when we fill out the end of season report, rather than filling out 1.55 million, we need to fill out, 750,000. Not so bad. Doubling the merchandising would have been big, though. To go from sort of 4.25 to 8.5 would have been huge. However, we failed the objective. We don't get to do that. And then finally, the financial target. We needed to turn a profit in the transfer market, which we essentially did, right? Did we sell anyone? I think we sold somebody. We certainly didn't spend any money. We rejected an offer for Sadler. Hardy requested a transfer, so he's going to be gone. Did we make any money? We didn't make any money, really. We did send some players out on loan. We've got all the players that I had to sign from free agency when I set up the save. So yeah, I had to create all of the players for Redmont Rangers, but there's no way to create them and put them in your created club in the main menu. So I had to create them, assign them to free agency, create the club, and then sign them from free agency. And we had a couple of players in on loan. So, I mean, does that count? Have we met that objective? Turn a profit in the transfer market. Have we met that? We've brought in a couple of players on loan. And we've sent a couple of... We've released a couple of players. These players have left on freeze at the end of the season. I think maybe that's just a push. I think we neither achieve nor fail that one. So I think we won't get the reward. We won't get the consequence either. I don't think you guys can see these objectives, can you? Or can you? The objectives are up on the screen right now for me. I know there's some lag between... what I'm seeing and what you're seeing. I'm not 100% sure you can see these objectives, though. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on the screen. All right, so, yeah, we can sign a player, a big name player over 30. We have to half the match tickets revenue. That's pretty much the consequences we need to impart as we go through the off-season here. Crystal Palace Season 3 starts tomorrow. Saturday at 4 p.m. is when Episode 1 of Season 3 is going to drop. All right, so I think time to advance to Season 1 then. In fact, no, we're going to have to do Core DNA first. All right, so second on the agenda is sorting out Core DNA. Sorting out our end of season report. And spending our DNA and trait points and things of that nature. Why is it not showing me Core DNA now? issues. It is not showing core DNA for some reason. There aren't new sliders just yet. I'm still testing, but honestly, I think Title Update 6 has been pretty kind to the sliders. I don't think they need significant adjustments, to be honest. I think there's going to be minor tweaks, but the game has actually been very stable. Really, since FC24, the patches, the updates, they don't seem to have as much of an impact anymore as they used to. Every little update used to really absolutely destroy the slider set, and they just don't anymore. I can't close that though. Oh, I'm gonna have to crop it all again now. So I had core DNA set up perfectly. And it's just not showing anymore. Here we go. But I had it cropped perfectly too. Bear with me 2 seconds and we'll get it set up again. Right, so crop we had. And this was like 250. This was like 300 maybe. A little too much. Let's go 275. Perfect. Okay, we're back in business. Core DNA is here. Apologies. This has been so frustrating to set up. However, core DNA is here. We need to fill out the end of season report. And then we're going to get some additional DNA and trait points. You guys are going to have to decide how to spend those. So season wins. Does this mean league, cup, everything combined? I assume so. So we have 46 wins in the league. We have an additional handful of wins in the cup. So we have 46 wins in the league, plus an additional win over MK Dons. That's 47. Burnley makes 48. We lose to Arsenal in the cup. 48 wins. We have 48 wins total. Our attacking is still 60, 61, and 60, I believe. We finished... Do we just have to put top half? We were promoted. I guess we have to put top half. What's AFC champions? I mean, we were champions of our league. I don't think that counts as AFC, though. And then we just made the preliminary rounds of the cup competitions. Yeah, 4 p.m. GMT. So 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So you have to translate that into whatever time zone you are in. Where are you out of interest? So that's those bits and pieces. We've then got the end of year fiscal report. So we've got prize money, which is 2.48 million. Merchandising is 4.26 million. Match tickets, we need to half. So that's 750,000 rather than 1.5 million. Season tickets, we made 31,000. And then our expenses, stadium maintenance, 307,000. Youth facilities, 530,000. Travel costs, 351,000. Our remaining budget, I'm going to set at 2 million. Again, you may have seen this in a previous live stream, but I gave us a 50 million budget in season 1 just to make sure we had all of the money that we would need to do whatever we needed to do in season 1 to get everything set up. But we're going to go with 2 million as the leftover budget heading into season 2. So I believe we are done here. And I believe we should get additional DNA and trait points in this new attributes column. I haven't done this yet with this new version of core DNA. I have done many an end of season report in version 1 of core DNA. I'm yet to try it on version 2 though. So we're just going to have to hope that this goes smoothly. So overall, actually, maybe we have to input 60 here. We do. So let's click submit, cross our fingers, and hope everything works out as it should. Things are disappearing, which is a good sign. Everything has disappeared. We don't currently have additional DNA and trait points right here, though. But we do here. Okay, perfect. So it has taken. So this is the important bit. We have 2 additional DNA points. So that means we can unlock an additional kind of block on the skill tree in any of those strands on the left-hand side. So in culture, in operations, in recruitment, employment, development, networking, and academy, we can also unlock 2 additional actual traits. So, Redmont Rangers Supporters Group, new owners of the club, it is up to you to decide. We can continue to invest in the academy. If we unlock an additional slot in the academy, we unlock an additional player slot in the academy. So we are currently up to, I believe, 6 players that we can have in the youth academy. 6 players. So we would unlock a 7th and potentially an 8th. We almost have all of the traits in this particular strand. Front runner would be the next option, plus 20% to sign domestic prospects. So it would increase our chances of signing some high potential players. And then bright future, we would get a plus 2 to signing players aged 20 and down in the realistic buy-in calculator. So basically, this is our skill tree. This is what we are allowed to do at the club. With core DNA, there are a bunch of additional restrictions that are imposed upon our career mode. For example, we can only sign 1-star youth scouts. We can only sign 1-star coaches. We can only have so many players in our youth academy. We can't automatically sign players to the youth academy, but we have to go through the realistic signing calculator on core DNA. With this skill tree, with the DNA and the trait points, we can unlock extra things that we can do within the game, basically. And that's what these different blocks describe, the things that we are allowed to do. So, for example, practice makes perfect. We can sign 1 additional coach. We can have our coach's knowledge be 1 tier higher. So rather than it being bronze, novice, we can have silver, intermediate, whatever the knowledge is called. So if we continue to invest in culture, we get additional traits to spend as well. That's why I invested so many in culture at the very beginning, so we could get those additional trait points to spend. So if we were to spend 1 in culture, we would lose a DNA point, but we would gain a trait point. So we would go down to 1 DNA, but we would go up to 3 trait points, is how that works. Operations, we get +2 to the starting budget each season. Recruitment, we can employ a staff member or additional staff members. So we, of course, have our manager, Hans Neumann. However, we have academy director, which would convince a prospect. If your first attempt to sign a prospect doesn't succeed, you get a second chance. This is a very good one to have, academy director. Doctor gives us less injury severity. I like the injury sliders where they are, though, so I'll probably leave that alone. Director of football gives us larger buying bonuses. Scouting director gives us additional scouting instructions, so we can employ some staff members if we invest in that particular strand. Lower operational costs is also a useful trait to unlock. So all of those things that we just input into the end of season financial report in terms of the expenses, they get completely written off at the end of each season. So you get additional money put towards the budget at the end of the next season. We have so-man season for Premier League. So we can spend our point in the long run. Academy and development might be good. Yeah, so you're saying we're not going to be in the Premier League for a while yet. So invest in youth in the future, I think, is the right way to go. And that is the way we have been going. I think that's probably the way we should continue to go. Employment gives us plus 0.5 to the club's total wage budget each season. See, this is something I think we can steer away from at this stage because, yeah, we're in League One. We're going to be focusing on youth academy. We don't need a massive wage budget. Development gives us +1 focused development plan. So this is another restriction that we currently have. We only have 3 development plans currently for the entire team. Everybody else just has to be set on balanced. So if we want to train players in more specific roles, we're going to have to invest in the development strand. And then networking gives us additional scouting locations. So it sounds like we want to invest in the youth academy. It's kind of pointless unlocking the traits unless you're going to spend a trait point as well, though. It's not completely pointless because you do get these kind of static, not static, but you do get these kind of base or foundational rewards for unlocking the additional slots. But if you're not going to spend the trait point, really, you're getting half as much of the reward as you could be. So I think front runner would be a good one to unlock because we do get, if we invest in additional DNA and trait point here, we get the additional slot in the youth academy and we get the plus 20% chance to sign the domestic prospects. If we want to focus on youth academy, does it make sense to go with, which is the one that gives us the recruitment, gives us the staff member? Do we want to go with recruitment? Because that would then allow us to hire the scouting director and that would, or the academy director, and that would give us the second chance. And then we would have 1 trait point left over, which we could potentially invest in penny pinching and write off our expenses at the end of the season. Yeah, Prem is definitely going to be a while away. I fancy us to get promoted again this year as well. All right, so sounds like at the moment, so based on what I'm seeing in the chat, my suggestion would be we spend our 2 DNA points on academy and on recruitment. We then spend our 2 trait points on penny pinching and on front runner. Let me know in the chat if you want me to go over any additional traits and what they do, because I'm sure you can see the titles, maybe not quite as clearly as you might like, but you're not necessarily going to know what they do. Future proof means we can sign additional under 23 players. That would certainly fit our goals. Scouting base gives us an additional scouting region of choice. However, our global transfer network scouts are as restricted as our youth academy scouts. They are all 1-star, and we only have 3 of them. We have 3 1-star global transfer network scouts, and we're restricted in terms of where we can send them as well. So they're currently in England, Scotland, and the Netherlands, but we are given specific places that we are allowed to scout. Those would be the ones down here in bold. So we can only send scouts to the ones that are unlocked: Belgium, Netherlands, Switzerland, South Korea, and then everywhere in Britain. So we've got this guy in Scotland. We got this guy in the Netherlands. So any advances on that plan? If not, we will go through with that. We will spend our 2 DNA points on recruitment, on academy. We will unlock penny pinching and front runner, and we will hire an academy director. Unless you tell me otherwise in the next 30 seconds, that will be what we'll do. Got the Middlesbrough? Burnley? I think Middlesbrough-Burnley game on. Yeah, Burnley-Middlesbrough. Kicking off at 8 o'clock. I thought maybe there'd be Premier League tonight, but apparently not. But a decent championship game going on in the background. Yeah, no worries, man. We understand what you're saying. All right, let's do that then. Seems like we have no objections. Seems like we're all on the same page. So let's go ahead and bump it up to 6 in the academy. We will bump it up to... Was it recruitment? Yeah, we'll bump it up to 2 in recruitment. We will unlock penny pinching, and we will unlock front runner. So we have a very good chance to sign the best youth products now. We have grassroots football, gives us a plus 10% chance to sign all prospects, and plus 20% on domestic prospects. So any prospects from our youth scout in England, we're going to have plus 30% chance to sign them. And we are also guaranteed to sign anybody up to an 80 potential. So 80 potential, 100% chance. We can just sign them. Anybody above 80 potential, we have to check with the realistic signing calculator, but we get a plus 30% chance on all English youth prospects, and we get a plus 10% chance on all youth prospects. So we should be able to get a real influx of really good youngsters here in Season 2. So that's that. And now I think we are ready to actually move into Season 2. Anything else we need to do on Core DNA whilst we're here? I don't believe so. Oh, we need to hire our academy director. And so we get convinced prospect. And in addition to all of those boosts, if we still fail to sign a youth academy prospect, we can re-roll. We can go again. Anybody who hasn't seen that, let me give you an example here. So again, this is Core DNA 2.0. So this is slightly different from the first version that I'm used to. But let's say we've got our youth scouts have come back. They've given us a striker that we are interested in signing. So his name is John Doe, and he is American, United States. He is 17 years of age, so he is available to be signed. He is a 58 overall. His potential range So ordinarily, this is just straight potential. But if it's, for example, 74 to 94, then his potential would be an 84. I think because it's specifying potential range, though, maybe it wants me to actually put in 74 to 94. Although that doesn't seem to be taking. What do the instructions say? Does it specify? Don't think it specifies. Doesn't specify. I'm just going to put in 84 just to be safe. Oh, prospect potential is down here. Nationality is domestic. We have a 100% chance to sign him. This doesn't seem right. I don't think we should be able to 100% sign a player with 84 potential. What if we go foreign then? It's still saying 100. Aha, genius. Ah, I see. There are cells either side. I didn't realize that. Well spotted. Okay, so 74. Will our hyphen come back? Do we need the hyphen to come back? This still doesn't look right. Ah, here we go. Yeah, so that would give us a 0%. That makes a lot more sense. So let's bring it down to 74, 84. All right, we're going to have to find the sweet spot. Just I want to demonstrate the selling calculator. I can't get one where it's... I can only get 100 or 0. Yeah, I can only get 100 or 0. Anyway, you get the gist. You click submit. It tells you if you're allowed to sign them or not. We've just got a bunch of different factors contributing, so I think that's why I'm screwing things around. Regardless, let's head into season 2. So we've got a handful of players being scouted in the background. And we've received an offer for Theodore Sadler as well. 82,000. We did accept an offer for him already from Shelbourne. So how are we getting another offer for him already? I'm not sure. But this, I guess, will allow us to turn a profit in the transfer market. Every overall point above your team overall that season, the probability to sign the youth player goes down 10%. Oh, yeah, so we've got the created player bug to contend with as well. So the moment of truth. Are we going to have a team heading into season 2? I certainly hope so. So since our overall is so low, every player above 81 is impossible to sign. Once your overall goes up, the chance will improve. Yeah, I think you're right. But then we, of course, have the guarantee to be able to sign any players up to 80 overall. So, yeah, we get up to 80 and we're pretty much guaranteed to sign there. And then anything above there, it drops to 0. Yeah, whereas when our club overall goes up, it will be 100 up to 80 and then it will gradually decrease. I believe you are right. Do we have a squad? I saw Yusuf Chamiti. I guess he hasn't yet returned to We have a squad. Okay, Callum Broad is still here. Jamie Burns, Brandon Stokes, Elliot Hardy, all still here. I assume they're not going to disappear when I advance just ever so slightly. But we'll advance a couple days and check in once more. And no, they are still all here. So it looks good. For the time being, at least, it looks as though we have a team. So our budget has been increased by 23.5 million up to 62 million. So we are a League 2 club with 62 million to spend. Of course, we're not going to be spending that. However, we do need to input something into Core DNA in terms of a starting budget. So let's see what we can do here. All right, so I need to go to finances. Yep, so starting weekly wages and starting budget. What do we think is a reasonable budget to start with? Obviously, it's not going to be 60. I'm thinking 5 million, I think, is a reasonable starting budget. Right now, it's given us, or no, we don't know. I don't think we need to put in the starting budget again. Again, it's been a while since I've done this on Core DNA version 1. But do we need, when we start season 2, to input our starting budget from season 2? I don't think we do. I think we just use the budget we're given here. Almost 3.5 million. Oh, we do need to put it in again. Okay, let's do that. All right, so what, 8 to 10 million people are saying in the chat. Should we go 9 million then? 15 million for League 2 champs? That feels a little high to me, 15 million. It's not just a transfer budget, though, of course. It is a budget that has to cover all of our expenses this season, including scouting, including youth academy, including contract negotiations, signing bonuses, and all that kind of stuff. So let's go 10 million. Let's go 10 million as the starting budget. And our wage budget this season is... This is harder to find this year as well, I believe, than it was last year. Last year it was just on the squad tab. And it's just not this year. And I think it is in the budget tab. But not until you get the expenses and the pie charts and things like that. Yeah, I really wish they would make it simpler as well. Yeah, so I think it shows up here, but I think you have to have the 3 different sections on that left-hand side there. We only have the budget. I think we need to see the expenses, and it breaks it down in the expenses. So hopefully that pops up sooner rather than later, and we can know what our actual budget is. We are also technically not allowed to play in any preseason tournaments. That is a trait on Core DNA that we would need to unlock. So whether we do that today or not, I'm not sure. And Core DNA is not showing up again now. Wonderful. To be fair, we don't massively need it anymore. But we've got some offers. Ellis Lewis is a player that I really don't want, to be honest. He's useful enough depth at the moment, simply because we only have Dave Williamson, Ethan Saint, and Charlie Pierce now that Yusuf Chamiti has gone back to Everton. Do we want Yusuf Chamiti back, by the way? That would be something else I need you guys to decide on. Do we want Yusuf Chamiti back? He was pretty influential. He was kind of a revelation at Redmont Arena last season. However, whether we are able to get him back or not, I'm not entirely sure. So let me know. Do we need to look into that? Ellis Lewis, I would be more than happy to move on from if you guys are happy to do that. Elijah Hurst, a little bit less so. He is 31 years old. So obviously not really contributing to our objective of building for the future, but is useful depth at left back at 59 overall. Theodore Sadler, I'm more than happy to sell as well. I accepted a couple of offers for him last season. He hasn't gone anywhere yet, but we've got a couple of offers, almost 90,000 for that. And then Elliot Hardy, I don't want to sell, but he has handed in a transfer request. So we're simply going to have to accept this offer of 1.3 million, unfortunately. People do want Chamiti. Yeah, I think Chamiti, I don't think we're necessarily going to be able to buy him this season. I think semi-realistically, we could get him in on loan again, but go with a loan to buy. And then if we get promoted again this season, then we can make it permanent. But let me know in the chat if you've got any objection to me selling Ellis Lewis and selling Theodore Sadler. Let me know also if you've got any objection to me rejecting the offer on Elijah Hurst. I would go sell, keep, sell on these three. But again, it's up to you. I think if you're being realistic in the lower leagues, if the club can make a profit, any player is on the block. Yeah, I'd say sell anyone that gets a good offer. And I think 105,000 for Ellis Lewis based on his performances last season is a good offer. The assistant manager thinks it's a fair offer as well. What, Elijah? I mean, that's a good offer for Elijah Hurst as well, especially at 31 years of age. So, we sell him as well? We could always, of course, bring in a youth academy prospect at some point at left back. My only reservation is we only have Jordan Hobbs and Jamie Burns as fullbacks beyond that. So if we sell Elijah Hurst, we literally have two starting fullbacks and that's it. It's not as if we have anybody in the youth academy ready to be promoted to the first team and provide additional depth. Charlie Holland, it looks like, can play left back as well as centre back, but he is 6'2" and slow. So, and I think Elijah Hurst played fairly well. Sell, keep, sell. So let's do that then. Let's accept the offer on Lewis. Let's accept the offer on Sadler. And let's reject the offer on Hurst. Oh, we actually had two offers on Sadler. So that will be accepted as well. We'll get an extra $1,000 if we sell him to the second club. Hopefully some of them scouting reports come in fairly soon as well. I've got another offer for Elliot Hardy, which is just 85,000, but we would get Alessandro Malamo back. This is another trait on Core DNA. We are currently unable to offer any signing bonuses, any sell-on clauses, rather. We are able to offer signing bonuses, and in fact, we have to. But we are unable to attach sell-on clauses to our offers. We are unable to accept or offer any player swaps as well. So we'll have to reject that one. Well, I guess we could have negotiated. Sign a player who can play left back and right back who you scouted earlier. That would be Sam Byram. So yeah, he would potentially we can sign. Well, is there much point doing that though? Because he would cost more than we would get for Elijah Hurst, and he's I think actually older than Elijah Hurst. So I think that would be. I'm not sure that would make a massive amount of sense for us, to be honest. Check what the buying team squad looks like. Yeah, if the player isn't going to play at a new club, also consider that a factor. I definitely would consider that a factor for, more first team players. If we got an offer for like Dave Williamson, for example, then that would certainly be a factor there. Corey Hutchinson, Sean Rose, those kinds of players. So let's get Chimiti scouted. If he's not already. And we'll see how much he's worth. He was loan listed last year, I believe. So he's up to... Oh, we do have him fully scouted already. He's only 7 million. That's actually not that much. He is on 32.5 grand. So I think Yusuf Chimiti on a loan to buy would not be that unrealistic. A lot of these players just simply aren't being scouted. I think just simply because we don't have the manpower to scout them. I think we've got too many players being scouted for our 1-star scouts to handle at the moment. Let's see also if we can now see our wages. And we can. Expenses. So player wages, we've got 200,000 a week in wages. A week? A month? Weekly wages? 200,000? It must be weekly, mustn't it? The wages are so inflated in the lower leagues this year. Let's have a look and see if ballpark that's it must be, it's 200,000 a week, right? Got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, round that up to 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180. Yeah, it's 200 grand a week. All right, so that will give us our final budget in Core DNA, 200,000 per week. Gives us is it not going to adjust? Oh, it did bump it up ever so slightly to 3.5 million. So we have 3.5 million this year to work with. 250,000 in terms of wages. So not bad at all. Yusuf Chimiti certainly would be out of our budget this year. But I think if we do want him, like I said, I think we could do a loan to buy. It sounds as though people in the chat are interested in that, but Everton are not interested in that. So Yusuf Chimiti is off the table. We simply can't afford him this year. Everton no longer willing to loan him out. I think we leave him on the shortlist for now. But it doesn't look like he's going to be returning to the club this year. Who else do we have in the chat in terms of suggestions? A young Premier League left-back on loan. Victor Olatunji. Why do I recognise that name? Maybe just... Is that not like one of KSI's real names? Maybe that's... Not that I'm a massive KSI fan, but... Maybe that's why I recognise the name. Victor Olatunji, in the last year of his deal, 25 years old, 63, 6'3", I mean, I've got very little information to go on here, but kind of looks to be in the Yusuf Chamiti mold. So could certainly be a plan B. What are we looking at in terms of overall for Olatunji, do we think? Miles Lieburn. Mustafa. I don't want to make a hash of pronouncing that surname, so I won't try. But this guy, 18 years old, striker, left wing, right wing. Miles Lieburn was another suggestion. Striker, 21 years old. Joined the club in 2025. I think we could sign him though, couldn't we? Hardy from Plymouth, Brad Young, Josh Nichols. Olatunji is a 74. So again, maybe a little out of our price range. And to be honest, probably a little out of our overall range in League One as well. I think for the purpose of, I mean, I say that, but we signed Yusuf Chamiti last year and he was a 73 overall in League 2. However, I didn't know that at the time, in my defense. But I think kind of realism-wise, I think we're looking at kind of high 60s, maybe 70 at the most. Nichols. Which Nichols were we looking for? Josh Nichols is not a guy, apparently. Yeah, I think 74 overall is probably just a bit too good. Josh Nichols at Arsenal is not a player that exists. Have you made him up? Hardy from Plymouth. Yeah, Lieburn, high 60s with potential in the high 70s. That's the kind of player we're thinking. And then what was he? Was he Turkish? Mustafa? A 68 overall is more like it. Let's look at Hardy. Not Ryan Hardy. Oh, for God's sake. Plymouth League 2? Plymouth are in the Championship. Hardy. Where are you, Hardy? Also not here. Was it Ryan Hardy? Has he moved in game? All right, so we've got several options. A lot of people thinking that we need a striker, though, at the very least. So let me put some names in the chat, and you can vote via a poll. Who should we pursue? So up front, we have... So which striker should we sign? We are looking at Miles Lieburn. We are looking at Mustafa Hekimoglu. I said I wasn't going to make a hash of it, and I did it anyway. We are looking at Victor Olatunji. And we are looking finally at... So Jay Stansfield is a 72 overall at 22 years of age. With a valuation of 4.5 million. We also have Mason Burstow, Jonah Ayunga, who's 28 years old. We do also have Dane Scarlett. Potentially we could bring him in on loan. He's unwilling to relocate, but I'm pretty sure Chimiti said that as well, and it didn't really count in terms of a loan move. And then we have the older players that I've added in terms of players we could sign as a 30-plus-year-old big name player. Jordan Hugill, Kiefer Moore, Naki Wells was another one. But let's put for now Dane Scarlett as the fourth. So, which striker should we go over? Our blaster from Sheffield would be a fun one, simply so we could say the name Our Blaster over and over again. And he's actually at Tottenham now. We will add him to the shortlist, though. And then, so left backs, I've actually been scouting as well. So we have a handful of free agent options. Lenny Valier looks interesting. Really good pace. Decent enough defending for the level. Physical attributes look good as well. Guinness Walker, another free agent that looks decent. We've got Jacob Mendy from Wrexham, who would have to pay for. Dylan Williams. So Rob Nizzet is a player we do have scouted fully, as is Will Ferry, as is Dylan Williams. And the others we would just kind of be rolling the dice on. A first-team prospect up front I've scouted as well. Jonathan Lecco looks interesting. Oh, Adamipo Odubeko was the Fleetwood Town striker that looked awesome. He actually really doesn't have as much pace as I thought he would, though. When we played him in-game, he looked like he had just crazy pace. It's only 73. 72 acceleration, 74 sprint speed, but he moved different when we played him. Nobody else there really useful. And then finally, we were looking at midfielders. And again, we have some free agent options who could prove to be decent. David Tavares being one. Guillermo Alonso doesn't look great, even if he is only 17 years of age. Same goes for Jason Keane. And this is what you get for just having 3 one-star youth scouts. You just don't get particularly good options back. Hey, thanks for dropping by, man. Good to see you as always. And it looks like the Turkish guy whose name I'm going to have to learn to pronounce is the front runner. So let's see who is this? Besiktas? Is that the Besiktas badge? Can we loan him? We can't. We're going to have to put in an offer for him. Lecco is amazing, like 90 pace. Really looking forward to see him come back from injury in real life. Is he a player that we have on the shortlist? So how much are we thinking? We have no idea how much to offer. So ballpark 500k, 700k. Did we know his overall? 68 overall at 18 years of age. 68 overall, 18 years of age. 800,000? That's what I would be tempted to offer. 2 mil. 2 mil. Oh, God. 2 mil. 2 mil would be on the safe side, but that would... we basically couldn't do anything else. That would be 2/3 of our budget almost. We've only got 3.5 mil in the bank. And that's not just for transfers, that's for everything. This guy might be out of our price range by the sounds of it then. Let's go 1.25. I was thinking 700 or 800k. Oh, 2.2 mil. You were spot on. You guys were spot on. 2.2 mil. All right. Not going to happen. We simply can't afford to spend that on one player. The tension is red. And they are not budging from 2.2 mil. How much do we want this guy? We can offer 2. I mean, to be fair, we've accepted an offer for 1.3 million for Elliot Hardy, and we've accepted a couple of other offers as well. So that 3.5 mil is going to change to about 5 mil. So if we really want this guy, we probably could bring him in for 2 million. Let's get another poll. 2 million. We're not doing 2.2. We're not doing 2.2. We're doing 2. Or we're ending the negotiation. Couple of votes or several votes for end negotiation in the chat. I think it's too much of a financial commitment, especially he has the high rating, but others say end it. So let's go 1.75, and if they don't accept it, then it's over. We'll take some time to think about this. That means no. That invariably means no. They always come back just with the offer that they were saying in the first place anyway. Do we have any preference on player aged 30 plus to bring in? We've got several on the shortlist. Barry Bannon, I think even at 35 years old would be a fun one. Yeah, what if he sucks for sure? That's 2 mil down the drain. I think Barry Bannon would be a fun one, but he's 35 years old, which is outrageous. Patrick Bamford would be a fun one as well. And he's only worth 2.2 million. He's unwilling to relocate though. Which, to be fair, we're very close to Leeds up in Redmont. I guess it's got us down as Accrington in terms of location. But I think even that is not that far from Leeds, right? What is that? Northwest Accrington? I would imagine it's like Greater Manchester. I could be wrong, but not that far from Leeds, surely. All right, so second in terms of votes was Dane Scarlett. And I think it's slightly more likely that we could get him in on loan, to be honest. So he might be the better option anyway. So let's pivot to the second option and go Dane Scarlett, and we can get him in on loan. Forshaw is getting some love in the chat for a 30 plus overall player. Let's go for a loan to buy on Dane Scarlett for a year. And let's try and get 50% of those wages, which they agree to, and they want 4 million for him. That's too much. However, Or is it? Or is it? So we would only be making this permanent if we went up to the championship. So we probably can afford something more like 3 to 4 million. Oh, okay. No interest. So we could get Dane Scarlett in on a loan to buy with a 4 million option for next season. So I guess that's the next option. That's the plan B. So Dane Scarlett, loan to buy for 4 million with the condition that we only sign him if we make the championship. And I've just realized you guys probably can't see what I'm doing because... Or is it? Actually, no. I think it's fine. Josh Brownhill? I think he'd probably be a bit too good. I'd like Brownhill. He's 29. So a little too old for us. So where are we? Still waiting on that money for Elliot Hardy, unfortunately. So... Oh, and this will be Elliot Hardy leaving. So Elliot Hardy on his way out. However, that does mean that we can... Firstly, add not 1.3 million, but however much we get for Elliot Hardy, which is probably going to be about 1 million, and take his wages off the books as well. So if we go to sell, oh, this is so much more complicated than last time. And so Elliot Hardy is a fictional player. I'm not sure we even have to necessarily input all of that. I just want the money. I only really care about the budget. I don't really care about the player being on the right team. I only really care about the budget. So how much do we get from... So we get 60k from Sadler, and we get 925k from Hardy. So we get... Wait, 60. So we get basically 1 million. 1.75. Does that change things? 1.75 is actually... Oh, I mean, they've got a sell-on clause. We can't do the sell-on clause. No, you've blown it. You've blown your chance. Right, so we get 1 million. And if we just click sell player, is it going to adjust our budget? Or do we have to put in all the information about the player? Let's see. It does. Okay, so we can completely forego putting in all the information about the players. and adjust the budget anyway. So we're up to 4.5 million. I did forget about the wages though, didn't I? Wages. Current wage. Don't even remember what he was on, to be honest. We can ballpark it with somebody else. Brandon Stokes is on 9k. Seymour's on 12. Let's just go 10k. No, let's go 8k because he was younger. What? So if I now do this, is it going to take 8k off my wages? 247,592. No, it's not. Ah, crap. But our budget has gone up. So it did consider that, but not for the remaining wages. Although maybe simply because I took the wages off rather than added them on. So I'm going to have to put £8,000 back here now. I've screwed it. All right, I'll tell you what. Anybody else we sell, which might be Elijah Hurst, we just won't add their money. That'll make it roughly the right amount. All right, so we have Ellis Lewis is another player, actually. So we will just not add Ellis Lewis's money on Core DNA, and that will take us up to about 5 million. Dane Scarlett we can return to. We also have an offer for Blake Bird, and we are actually getting notifications of the offers, which is awesome. So we'll accept the offer from Galway. Blake Bird, we have an offer for 300,000, 31 years of age. So here's another player we will need to decide on. A player that, again, I'm happy to have in the squad. 62 overall is decent enough depth. However, if you want to move on from him for about 300k, we can do that. We still can't negotiate with Dane Scarlett. So let me know on Blake Bird. Yes or a no. Contract renewals we will get to in just a second as well, yeah. Another offer for Lewis, which we can accept. Charlie Pierce, 1.5 million. Big offer. However, he is only 19 years old and he is a 62 overall. So, do we move on from him? Could be a big player in the future with a lot of room still to grow. Has yet to really prove himself in a Redmont Rangers shirt. However, 1.5 million is a lot, and we could probably even negotiate that up more towards 2 million. However, my argument would be, if we were going to take that 2 million, go out and spend it on a striker, Charlie Pierce is the exact profile that we would be looking for. 19 years old. Perfect in terms of our long-term objectives. 62 overall. Perfect in terms of, A, realism, and B, the caliber of player that we can expect to target at this stage. 3, high potential. What would we spend that 2 million on if it's not basically Charlie Pierce? Yeah, he is homegrown talent. Lots of people suggesting keep. I'd only keep if he'd be the second backup. So he's the primary backup. So we've got Dave Williamson, we've got Ethan Saint, it's then Charlie Pierce, and we've got nobody else. Even if we bring in one additional striker like Dane Scarlett, Charlie Pierce is still going to play this season for sure. I think we need one more striker. Yeah, because we played 2 up top. I don't think we can go into the season with just 3 strikers. I think 4 is enough. We won't necessarily play 2 up top every single game. So it does sound like we want to reject on Blake Bird and reject on Pierce. So we'll keep hold of them. Can we negotiate with Dane Scarlett now? I am expecting yes. Lecco. Did we want Lecco? Lecco was mentioned in the chat as well. Should we chuck in an offer on Lecco? Where are MK Dons? In League One, right? I think probably wouldn't be that realistic then. If MK Dons are in League One. Because... Wait, or are they in League Two? They're in League Two, are they not? I really wish it was easier to navigate between leagues as well. MK Dons are down in League Two. I think Lecco could be an option as well. Blistering pace is something we don't really have. Really a tool in the side at the moment. Let's chuck in a bid on Lecco. Again, I've got no idea what kind of price we're looking at. $1 million? It's reasonable. Have I just overpaid for Lecco? And then Mason Burstow was a player that there was some interest in the chat as well. Pretty underwhelmed by him, to be honest. Let's, no, so he has just recently joined the club. So Lee Byrne is off the table. Let's chuck in an offer of $1 million on Tunji as well. Chuck in an offer of $1 million on Olatunji. Wasted time. So that's useful to know. And Dane Scarlett will go back to the loan to buy. So we've got 2 options here. We can bring in Dane Scarlett and kind of defer the financial commitment to next season, or even forego the financial commitment completely, because if we don't go up, we are obviously not committed to paying $4 million to bring him in permanently. Or we can just go with $1 million right now for Lecco. So Lecco for $1 million, 26 years old, incredibly pacey, probably not that technically gifted by the looks of it, or the better technical player in Dane Scarlett, younger, but more expensive, and we can only bring him in on loan at the moment. Those are the 2 options. Let me pose that to you in the chat. And whilst you're voting on that, I'm going to try and work out how to gift some memberships. Because I've been trying to work out how to do that the last couple of weeks. And I just have not been able to figure it out. Burnley just equalised, by the way. Middlesbrough took an early lead. Burnley back level. So supposedly you click the little dollar sign. But when I do that, all I see is super stickers and super chat. And I'm not giving myself a super chat. That would make no sense. Nor a super sticker. And I see nowhere else where I could gift memberships. It's not going to be in there. It's not going to be in there. It's not in there. And it's bang on 50-50 between Lecco and Scarlet. Oh, I've got no clue. Can't figure it out again. We can sign foreign players. We can't scout any country that we want to, but we can sign players from any country that we want to. If we were doing this super strict, then we would only sign players that we've fully scouted. So if that was the case, we could only sign players from the countries that are unlocked for us in the scouting tab on Core DNA. So there could be that. We're not necessarily being quite that strict, though. And Lecco has taken the lead now. Couple of votes in his favor. So let's go with Lecco. Let's negotiate a deal for Jonathan Lecco from MK Dons. I think either one is realistic. Can we get him in on rotation? We can't. Important. And I think, to be fair, Lecco with the blistering pace is going to be a useful addition to the side. Dave Williamson is the big target man up front. Ethan Saint is the kind of diminutive, messy, incredibly light player. 10k, 8k, 7k, 7.5. And then we do also need to offer him a sign-in bonus. And that will be dictated by Core DNA. We need to offer him... Where are we? All right, Core DNA's bugging out again. It's probably going to be somewhere in the 250,000 range, though. So Jonathan Lecco becomes the first signing of Season 2. As I was saying, Dave Williamson, big target man up front. Ethan Saint, kind of diminutive, more skillful, more technical player. Charlie Pierce, kind of an all-rounder, bit of a fox in the box, bit of a poacher. We don't really have anybody with the kind of pace that Jonathan Lecco has. So he will offer something very, very different for us. We could also do with updating our kits ahead of Season 2. 66 overall, 90 pace, 61 shooting, 67 dribbling. Not bad at all. We could do with updating our kits. Usually that pops up between seasons, but it hasn't. Can you just customize? You could just customize your kits at any point. So I usually keep either the home or the away kit, and I alternate between updating them. So I think we'll change. Let's change the away kit this year. I think I'll keep the third kit as well for an additional season, but we'll update the away kit. We'll keep the home and the third. So Dane Scarlett is going to arrive as well. However, we're just going to release him. So Lewis transfer talks end. That's with Galway, though. There was a couple of offers for him. We're just going to release Dane Scarlett when he arrives. Guinness Walker. Yeah, I think he would be a really good addition, especially since we play the false back. So I think he's the ideal fit for our system and may even play ahead of Jamie Burns. What college was this, just out of interest? So I think Nesta Guinness Walker is going to be the next edition. We can't offer those kinds of bonuses. Oh, what did he ask for? Was it? I think it was just 6, wasn't it? And again, we'll give him 250,000. And so Nesta Guinness Walker becomes the second signing of Season 2. Jonathan Lecco, Guinness Walker join the squad. We're going to need to get our youth scouts heading out for Season 2 as well, because that's going to be our primary way to add to the squad here in the second season. And yeah, Garbutt, Matthew Garbutt, I assume you mean the free agent Matthew Garbutt. I did sign him last year. I don't really want to sign him again because I signed him for Redmont Rangers last year and he did play a pretty big role. At 66 overall as well. I'm not sure why he's being compared to Kai Fry, the right midfielder. But 66 overall, I think, is slightly higher than Jamie Burns, and it is. And he's a 65 here for some reason. But I think Guinness Walker goes straight into the starting 11. And I think that probably does mean we could sell Elijah Hurst if we get another offer for him. And Jonathan Lecco, I assume, can play on the wing as well, and he can. So I would probably be tempted to put him on the bench alongside Charlie Pearce. And then we've got the option of both of them up front, but Lecco could come on the wing as well if we needed him to. So let's get the Youth Academy scouts sent out before we move too much further forward as well. So we will just send one out to England, of course, which is going to be Northern Europe, is it not? For the full 9 months. And I think we may as well go for a range of different positions. Centre-back we could certainly use with Corey Hutchinson and Reggie Seymour the wrong side of 30. I think we could probably use some wide midfielders, and let's go with a striker as well. But any kind of a player at those positions would be fine. And then we will also send a second scout north to Scotland. Or let's go Ireland this time, actually, for 9 months. And we will go fullbacks. And you can't go keeper. It's so silly that you can either go keeper or outfield. So I guess we'll go fullbacks. Fullback, centre midfielder, and striker again then, I guess. So all across the back line, all across the midfield, and up front between the two scouts. No goalkeepers currently being scouted, but we can still play in youth tournaments if we want to with Zachary Platt. His diving, however, is 11. Unfortunately, so this was set up before that glitch, before that bug was addressed. So unfortunately, we still have the incredibly low diving. However, I think we are approaching the territory in which we are ready to begin Season 2. As Dane Scarlett does arrive, but like we said, we are going to simply release him. It is going to be a short stream today. I don't think we're going to get time to play any games. I think we'll save that for the next live stream. Because we've got few things to tidy up here in terms of preparing the squad. And by the time we've done that, I don't think we're going to have... Certainly not going to have time left over to play a lot of games. Squad renewal, contract renewals is something else we need to get done here as well. So, expiring contracts. We have Corey Hutchinson, 31 years old, the captain, 69 overall. Ethan Saint, 65 overall, 28 years old. We have Teddy Hooper, 63 overall, 30 years of age. Blake Bird, 62 overall, 31 years of age. We have Elijah Hurst, we have Ellis Lewis, and we have Charles Mann, another midfielder. The wrong age of 30, in the low 60s. So, I think Ellis Lewis, we certainly don't need to renew. The same can probably be said for Elijah Hurst. And I think we should probably be keeping at least one of Charles Mann, Blake Bird, Teddy Hooper. One, if not two. And then I would lean towards keeping Hutchinson and Saint as well. So, who do we keep in the chat? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players here. I think we should be keeping 3. So let me know in the chat who are the 3 names that you would choose to keep out of these expiring contracts, and we will renew their contracts right here and right now. Whilst you are doing that, I will update Core DNA with the money that we've spent on Jonathan Lecco and Guinness Walker. So we've got one important. We offered 6,000 and a signing bonus of 250,000. And we didn't pay any money for Guinness Walker. So we're back down to 4.4. And then we paid 1 million for Jonathan Lecco. We gave him, 10,000? 8,000 a week. And again, it was a 250,000 signing bonus. Keep Hutchinson, Saint, and then the rest leave, all of them. Especially if you get promoted. Also keep Blake Bird. They'd be Deadwood at best. Bird's getting on a bit. He is. All 3 of the midfielders are getting on a bit. But we do need players. Currently at centre midfield, we have Blake Bird, Charles Mann, Teddy Hooper, Frankie Webb, 19 years old, 61 overall, Kabore, Rose. That's 6 midfielders. We tend to play 2 at a time. We would, of course, want to accommodate for injuries. And, if we were to lose all 3 heading into next season, we would be down to just 3 centre midfielders. I think we have to keep one of the centre midfielders. And it's not like we have to really commit to them financially. We could see if Blake Bird will take a 1-year extension, for example. And it seems to be Blake Bird, the player that we would keep if it was any of them. We can also lower his contract to rotation now as well. So if we can get him on a 1-year extension, which we can, I think it makes a lot of sense to keep Blake Bird. And especially if we can lower his wages to something slightly more reasonable as well. Yeah, it's a modest pay cut. So we've got Blake Bird for 1 additional year on a pay cut. So we're saving money and he's providing a little bit of extra depth. Corey Hutchinson, everybody's voting to stay, and I would certainly agree. Crucial squad role for what? An additional year? An additional 2? Maybe we just give him the 1-year extension for now, just given the age. And then again, maybe we can negotiate a modest pay cut for him, which it looks like we can. Goes down from 12 to 10.5 to tack an extra year onto his deal. So Corey Hutchinson is back. And then Ethan Saint was the other player you wanted back as well. On an important squad role seems fine. Yeah, cashing in on Hooper, I think, could be a good idea. And the same can be said for Elijah Hurst, especially now that we've signed Guinness Walker. I don't think that would be a bad idea at all. 2 years or 3 for Ethan Saint? "28 years old, even though he looks about 6. One all at half time at Turf Moor. Barely been watching, though, to be fair. 3 years for Ethan Saint. He only wants 1. So it's going to have to be 2. And again, I imagine we can probably negotiate him down from his current wage. Maybe not quite so much. Maybe just 500k this time. He does take 10. All right, so we've saved a bit of money in terms of wages. And I certainly think it's a good idea to try and cash in on Teddy Hooper or Charles Mann. And Teddy Hooper is worth 350k. He's made less of an impact on the team as well compared to Charles Mann. So I think let's add him to the transfer list. Let's do the same for Elijah Hurst as well. Ellis Lewis is already on the transfer list. So, yeah, I certainly agree. Let's try and cash in on those players and get money for them if we can. And then, who is the other player suggested in the chat? Stamenic. Is he a free agent at the moment? Marko Stamenic is not a free agent. Is at Olympiacos. So are there any other positions that we need to address? We've brought in a fullback. I think we're set at centre-back for the season. We still don't have our 30 plus. Our big name 30 years or older player. That's meant to be our big signing. We haven't addressed that yet. So we've got Hutchinson, Stokes, Seymour, Holland. We've only got 4 centre-backs. Hutchinson and Stokes, the starters. So I'm not so sure that that should be the player that we target in terms of our big name player. What about a winger? We've got El Fakiri and Kai Fry. Jonathan Lecco, kind of. I think a winger. Lionel Messi could be interesting. I've heard good things. Who did people want? There was the same name suggested a couple times in the chat. I think Tavares looks cool as well. If we do end up selling, Forshaw was the option, wasn't he? Do we need another centre midfielder, though? Especially if we're going to be moving on from Teddy Hooper and then replacing him with Tavares. You'd sign who? Forshaw over Tavares. Forshaw 33 years old and we'd have to pay for him. Tavares only 26 and we wouldn't have to pay. Other options, Jed Wallace. Other options... Mate, look at Ramazani. Finesse shot, technical flair, quick step, acrobatic. 87 pace. He looks good. Arno Hernandez. Dwayne Holmes. Could play through the middle or out wide. Tom Ince was another suggestion. 4-star skill moves. We don't know a lot about him. Andy Carroll is an option. I think we bring in a 30-year-old winger. Forshaw is the name that's been suggested. I will sign Forshaw if he's the one that people want me to sign. Let me put it to a poll. Sign Forshaw. So he would be our one big name player that we're signing as a 30-year-old or older. So certainly an option. Sam Morsey is there as well. I forgot about him. I think a midfielder of some sort makes most sense, though. Forshaw, but put him at left wing. Is that a thing? He's down as a CDM. I mean, he's down as wide half, to be fair. Good balance, composure, and ball control. He's got techers. All right. It's Forshaw. Forshaw for sure. It looks like he's unwilling to relocate at this time. And to be fair, that would be relocation from the south coast all the way up to the northeast. He's not willing to relocate. I was willing to sign him. Yeah, he definitely does. He definitely does. All right, who's your second choice then? We can't get Forshaw. He's refusing to come. Jed Wallace is also unwilling to relocate. Barry Bannon is retiring. So should we add Tavares then? Just on a free? El Ghazi is unwilling to relocate. Hernandez is unwilling to relocate. Holmes is unwilling to relocate. Tom Ince is retiring. Our shortlist is being absolutely obliterated. Jordan Hugill is a player that we could sign. He seems to be basically the only one. Naki Wells is a player we could sign. And that's pretty much it. No Tom Lockyer, no Callum Chambers. Gudmundur Porarensen could be a signing. Sam Byron wouldn't. Sam Morsey is retiring. Josh McEachran would sign. Let's go for Tavares then for the centre midfielder. And I think we should target a winger with that big name 30-plus-year-old player. Tavares ideally would be rotation. He wants important. I think we could get him on the field enough. He would probably, to be fair, be our third choice centre midfielder. It would be Kabore and Sean Rose. And then it would be Tavares would be next on the field. So I think we can certainly give him important. And he takes 8K. So Tavares arrives as well. So we've brought in a left back, a centre midfielder, a striker. 66 overall. That's 3 for 3 on the 66ers. 72 pace, 60 shooting, 61 passing, 68 dribbling, 60 defending, 75 physical. Could he be any more well-rounded? He is just good at everything. Not incredible at any one thing, but he's good at everything. He's quicker than Kabore. He's better at everything than Kabore but defending. And only just. He's only just behind him. I think Kabore deserves the nod in centre midfield for now. Oh my god, look at our squad. It's absolutely decimated. We have no backup keeper, by the way. So actually, we're not going to be able to play youth tournaments this year because Zachary Platt is going to have to join the first team because we don't have a backup keeper. I probably should have just signed one. Oh, and he's got 11 diving, hasn't he? All right, never mind. Zachary Platt is being released. He's got 11 diving. We need a free agent keeper. And we need a winger. And then I think we're done. Yeah, they will budge on everything in contract negotiations except roles. That's literally the one, just hard line, no negotiation. If they want a 1-year contract, they'll take 2 years. You know, if they want a certain wage, they'll take a little less. But yeah, the role they just... I wish you could give them more money for a slightly diminished role or a higher signing bonus for a slightly diminished role or something like that. But yeah, very frustrating that they will not budge on that whatsoever. Any goalkeepers that we recognize here? To be fair, 18-year-old Leonard Becker looks decent. We'll add him to the shortlist. Paul Clark. Zach Clark. Enrico Capella with 70 to 80 reflexes. I think he's our guy. Uparine Joko. Looks pretty cool, though. And he's got 71 to 81 strength, and he's been approached by Guangzhou FC. So, a hot commodity by the looks of things. We are probably better off going with the youngster, though. Oh, Finn Frank. Look at him. Also approached. Also a hot commodity. Finn Frank is the guy. I think we need to move on Finn Frank. 6'2". Low to mid 60s to low to mid 70s in all areas. Hey, good night, man. Thank you for dropping by. Thanks for all the help. Thanks for all the input and all of the suggestions. It's been incredibly useful. He wants an important squad role. He wants to take Callum Broad's job. Yeah, we can't promise him that squad role, unfortunately. So we're down to Becker, 6'2", left-footed. Good handling, good reflexes. Not incredible elsewhere. So I imagine Jocko is also going to want important in that case. We'll give him rotation. He wants crucial. Yeah, not going to happen. So Becker or Coppola. Coppola with the massive reflexes, but not so good elsewhere. Or Leonard Becker. Bit more well-rounded, but not unbelievable at anything. Becker or Coppola? What are we thinking? Becker or Coppola? $62 to $72 positioning, whereas it's only $58 to $68 for Becker. Diving is roughly the same. Handling for Coppola is much worse. So Coppola just looks like the better shot stopper. Becker looks like the more well-rounded keeper. 18 compared to 19. 6'1 compared to 6'2. A 3-star weak foot. And the reflexes... Oh, it's just the reflexes of Coppola. Let's go with the reflexes. Let's go with the reflexes of Coppola. And we can maybe build out... He wants important. Why do all these keepers think that they should just walk into our team? Becker wants important. Unreal. All right, we're going to have to go for somebody significantly worse then. Or somebody who just looks worse on the face of things at the very least. Huang, 6'6". With slightly diminished attributes compared to the guys that we've been going for so far. Also left-footed, rotation. Here we go. Now we're in business. All right, we found our backup keeper. And he wants to be... This guy really does trust the project. He wants to be here for 5 years and he only wants $2,000. Welcome to the team. All right, we have our backup keeper. And he is a monster. Su Huang. Absolutely love it. Only a 60 overall. All right. 30-year-old. I think it makes sense to sign them from England. Anybody transfer listed? CJ Hamilton is transfer listed. He was a player that was suggested. Patrick Bamford is transfer listed. And we could afford to buy him. Oh, I wish I knew that before we signed Lecco. Can't beat a Chinese keeper. Can't name a Chinese keeper. CJ Hamilton can play right back, left back, right mid. And he's left-footed. Interesting. Pacey. Can he properly play right mid, though? Let's check him out on SoFIFA quickly. He's cheating just a little bit. But if he can properly play right midfield, I think he'd actually be a really good addition. And he's actually better at right midfield and even better at right wing than he is at right back. Only 3-star weak foot, though. But his roles are right back, left midfield, and right midfield. Currently shown as right back, left back, and right mid. Yeah, let's go CJ Hamilton. I actually really like that. And he is exactly 30. So fits the bill in terms of the objective. And we know his market value as well. And we could probably go under market value because he's transfer listed and I think he's in the last year of his deal as well. So we can get him for maybe like 525. 530 will do. Yeah, so he fits the bill in terms of the objective, but he only just clears it at 30. It's not like we're bringing in a 35-year-old Barry Bannon on the brink of retirement. I think we can probably go important for him as well. And he does ask for important. And let's give him 3 years. Maybe I should have gone 2. 3 will be fine, though. We can always sell him in his last year. He's currently on 7.3. Maybe we can give him 6.5. And again, we'll give him a 250 signing bonus. And Hamilton becomes the, 4th, 5th, and final player. We've signed the keeper. We've signed the left back. We've signed the centre mid. We've signed the striker. And we've signed Hamilton now. 5 new additions. And a 66 overall. The streak continues. With the exception of the keeper. Or is that just a bug? Because now he's shown as a 68. Which is it? I think that's just a bug. Because every player has been shown as 66. But actually, Guinness Walker is a 65. And, oh no, Hamilton is a 66. Lecco is a 65. I think it's just showing a 66 regardless. All right, so that's the squad for Season 2. Callum Broad will continue. Jordan Hobbs, I think, has to continue. As does Kai Fry. At 22 and 24, I think they just have to start. El Fakiri is 26, though. So I think most of our new signings are going to start on the bench. However, Huang is going to be on the bench. Seymour is now our centre-back of choice on the bench. Burns. Tavares. Bird. Hamilton. Unless we leave Bird out. So it's probably going to be Burns, Hamilton, Tavares, Lecco, Pierce. I think that gives us the most flexibility because Hamilton can play right back and right midfield. Seymour can play centre back and centre midfield. So it kind of looks like we have too many defensive players on the bench and not enough midfielders, but Lecco can also play right midfield. Hamilton can play left midfield as well. So we have versatility on the bench. We then have Holland, Hurst, Webb, Hooper, Mann, and Lewis. Lewis potentially gone this year. Hooper potentially gone this year. Hurst potentially gone this year. So I think we are just about ready to call it. Oh, to be fair, that's a good question. I think we can aim for automatic promotion this year. However, we do need to nail down the objectives ahead of Season 2. So, do we want to aim for automatic promotion? Should we set that as an objective? Or do we want to be a little bit more reserved and go playoffs again? Even top half now that we are in League One. I would be tempted to go with the same objective that we set last season, which is make the playoffs. But with the kind of implicit target Frankie Webb. 1.15 million from Wickham. What do we think? Another million in the bank? Or Frankie Webb in the team? That's the option right now. Now that we've bought Hamilton for 530,000, we do only have, once Core DNA updates, We do only have 2.9 million remaining. And we are going to be losing 2, maybe 3 centre midfielders. I think it's hard to reject, especially if it's the 4th choice. So, yeah, I mean, he is going to be the 4th choice. Kabore is ahead of him, 23 years old. Rose is ahead of him, 23 years old. Tavares has now joined. Is going to be ahead of him, 26 years old. However, that means we're trying to sell Webb and Hooper. And then Mann's contract is going to expire. We'll be heading into season 3 with only Blake Bird. But, I mean, we would be looking to add youth academy prospects to the team over the course of the season as well. So it's not like we would definitely be heading into season 3 with only Blake Bird as a reserve centre midfielder. All depends what kind of youth academy prospects we sign. So that's a couple of votes for selling Frankie Webb. And to be fair, where are Wickham? Yeah, we could keep hold of Hooper instead for the rest of the season. Let Webb go now instead. And just allow Hooper and Mann's contracts to run out. Wickham in League One with us? Wickham are in League One with us. We would be selling them to a rival. Or selling him to a rival, rather. And he is a... You know what? I'm tempted... I can't turn scouting off now, can I? I was going to say, I'm tempted to just turn scouting off, because that would make things like this so much easier. Because I would like to check whether Webb would be anywhere near the first team for Wickham. But I don't know how good any of their players are. They only have 3 centre midfielders. So I think we're going to have to accept, aren't we? We're going to have to accept. So, all right, let's take Hooper off the transfer list. And let's accept the offer for Frankie Webb. Let's actually negotiate so we can get a little bit more. Squeeze them for every penny they're worth. We can't go too much higher. But let's try for 1.25 instead of 1.15, and they do meet it. All right. Frankie Webb is gone. Or not yet, but it looks like he's on the way out anyway. So what I would do between now and the next stream, because I think it's going to take us a long time to, and Frankie Webb is gone. So Frankie Webb joins Wickham. We will be seeing him later this year, but in a Wickham Wanderers shirt rather than a Redmont Rangers shirt. So I think what I'll do is, rather than do all the objectives now, because I think that will take quite a long time, is I will ask in the Discord channel and in the community tab for suggestions for objectives, and I will put those together between now and next Friday, and we'll go through the objectives at the start of the next stream. So make sure you're in the Discord channel if you're not already, and we can move on from Hurst as well. I think that was the consensus earlier. So yeah, make sure you're in the Discord channel. Make sure you keep an eye out for a post in the community tab, and add your suggestions for objectives there if you do want input on the objectives for next season. But yeah, I think playoffs, probably a reasonable aim. And we can allocate 900,000 back to the budget now with that sale of Webb. So yeah, I think playoffs are a reasonable aim, even if kind of implicitly, quietly, we are going to be heading for automatic promotion. Yeah, thanks for joining the stream. I echo what I said earlier. Thanks for all of the input. Again, been very, very helpful. And yeah, we'll be logging off soon. So I'll catch you next time, hopefully. Take care, man. So yeah, that'll do it for this one. Several new players added to the squad. Some players from last season, like Jamie Burns, going to take a bit more of a back seat. Several players to make their debuts in the next live stream, like CJ Hamilton, like Tavares, like Jonathan Lecco. And several players just looking to continue their development as Redmont Rangers fixtures, like Callum Broad, like Jordan Hobbs, like Kai Fry, like the pairing of Kabore and Rose in midfield. So next Friday, we will be getting to the first 2 months of the season, August and September. So we'll be taking on Exeter, Rotherham, Derby, Stevenage in League One, as well as taking on Cardiff in a tough draw in the Carabao Cup. Oxford, Cambridge, Northampton, Barrow, and Blackpool will give us a slightly easier, or a significantly easier rather, month of September. So we've got all that to get to, as well as those objectives to narrow down in the next one. Thank you everyone for your help and your input. I think we've done some good work this summer. I think that's setting us up well for Season 2. So I'll see you back here next Friday, 7 p.m. for the next one. Take it easy.